He knows 3 times. That's Jill Briller, everybody. Jill Briller. That's quite a story. I'm a 45-year-old man, and the more I learn about vaginas and women in general, the less I know. Like, sometimes I'm just absolutely, I have no idea. The worst things that happen to me in a bathroom can fit in a limerick, and I am eternally grateful. Our next story. Are you ready for the next one, ladies and gentlemen? The next story is entitled, That Time I Almost Died. It's written by Andrew Kozma, and it's read by Ryan Adam Wells. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Adam Wells.
I have never been in a fight. In middle school, while waiting for the school to let out, everyone sat on the bleachers in the gym. One kid just wouldn't stop making fun of me, so right when the bell rang, I pushed him off the edge and dropped my full book bag on his back. Then I picked it up and walked to the bus. It's the closest I've ever been to being in a fight. And that was more of an assassination attempt. The book bag weighed at least 30 pounds. I worked as the door guy at Poison Girl for years and never got into a fight. Some UFC fighter, or at least a guy who said he was training to fight in UFC, and his handler came in saying they wanted to get into a fight. They didn't. That wasn't because of me. Even if I did request politely that they not. There was one guy I told to get his ID out when it was drizzling who just wouldn't stop yelling at me, calling me gay as if that's an insult, and then asking if I lived in the area because if I did, he was going to hunt me down in his car and beat me up. It's easy while working the door to just let the words flow over you. At that point, he wasn't getting in and there wasn't anything he could do about it, and I had no respect for him, so his attempted insults didn't mean a thing. The reason I've never been in a fight is that my anger doesn't deal in half measures. Not when violence is on the line. I never got involved in a fight at Poison Girl because first, my job was to stop such things. And second, because the first thing I would do is pick up a bar stool and use it as a club. There's no such thing as fighting dirty when in an actual brawl, which is why I don't get into fights. I don't enjoy fights. Fighting does not tempt me. No fights for me. So here's the story of how I nearly died in a bar fight. I was with my friends Mo and Val. I met Mo when he was just a 16-year-old kid at Empire Cafe. He's an amazing musician, a good person, but not someone I saw super often. Val is an amazing baker, someone I worked with at an ill-fated bar/restaurant who I also didn't hang out with or often or really ever. This day, we all met by chance and we were talking and wanted to keep talking, so we went to Better Luck Tomorrow, a bar in the Heights I'd heard good things about but never made it to. We parked across the street, not in BLT's parking lot. We got drinks, sat on the patio, chatted about, I don't know, whatever people who like each other's vibes but don't hang out often chat about. Stuff. Things. Stuffed things, even. Our drink's almost empty. 2 motorcycles rumbled into BLT's parking lot. Neither of the guys wore a helmet. Maybe they whooped and yelled as they turned in. We saw them. We recognized bad news. A side effect of being in the service industry. Like how you can see someone across the street on their way to your bar before they speak, before they even stumble and catch themselves. That embarrassed smile slurring as much as their words will be. You just know you should send them home. Turn them away. Cut them off before they've even had a sip to drink at your bar. We took their entrance as a cue to go. Inside, Better Luck Tomorrow was getting kind of busy. We scattered into 3 different points of the bar to pay our bill to make things quicker. This separation was why neither Mo nor I noticed the 2 bikers and their friend who had arrived separately in a truck huddle up beside Val at the bar and begin to feel her up. We also didn't see her try to get the bartender's attention, who was a guy she knew, who she thought was a friend, who she was hoping would shut this whole thing down, and instead have him ignore her. As we left, Val told Mo, and he said to the guys, "Be cool, man," in that friendly way that means go fuck yourself. The 3 of them stared at us through BLT's door until we reached the end of the wall that separated the bar from the parking lot. As we turned around, Mo flipped them off. We were halfway across that back parking lot and halfway to Val's car when the 3 guys came around the wall and started yelling, demanding that Mo fight them. These 3 guys. These 3 guys. Mo and Val and I are all short. I'm 5'7", Mo's 5'8", and maybe Val is like 5'4". Each of these dudes was closing in on 6 feet at least. All of them stocky. I mean, not exactly muscled, but big, overweight. Like maybe they worked out a little, or maybe they played football in high school and their bodies just never forgot. They were whitish, white passing. Mo, on the other hand, is a Pakistani American. He was the one they were focused on. Sure, because he flipped them off, shamed them. But I'm guessing also probably because he's brown. They're not going to start a fight with Val, and I'm just some white guy. Someone they wouldn't mind fighting, but not a target. This was back in Trump's America, the end of 2019, pre-COVID. People felt a right to take their violence to the streets, or at least to the bars, at least if they could provoke someone into throwing the first punch. Val tried to stop it, telling me it was she they assaulted, they should fight. But they just shoved her to the ground. Mo and I refused to fight. Said we didn't want to. That we were just going to our car, man. Leave us the fuck alone. They bravadoed and insulted and they whined, and then, when it was clear we were not going to fight them, they pushed Mo to the ground and started wailing on him. One guy was kneeling on Mo, punching him. I grabbed him around the waist and I yanked him back to get him off Mo, and then, I don't know. I was on the ground. The wetness was spilling around my head. Blood. I was bleeding. Everyone was silent. Val sat down next to me. One of the 3 guys asked if I was okay. The 2 bikers jumped on their bikes and drove off. Their friend stayed around to ask, "He's going to be okay, right?" When Mo responded with, "What do you think?" The man drove off in his truck before the ambulance arrived, before the cops could make it, and blood was haloing out from my busted head. I didn't feel like I was going to die. I remember being calm, in shock, I suppose. Afraid at first only because Val looked terrified and Mo looked scared as fuck. I stared up at Val, past Val, to the sky and thought, what if this is how I die? What a fucking stupid way to die. I wasn't even fighting. I was trying to stop it. The thing is, I'd succeeded in stopping the fight. I hadn't thought about what would happen if I managed to pull several hundred pounds of man off my friend. What happened is that I pulled that several hundred pounds onto me, slamming my head into the asphalt, bouncing my head off the parking lot. Everyone stopped fighting to stare at the seriously injured man. Objective achieved. Val rode with me in the ambulance to Sinai. Mo and Val stayed with me as I lay on a bed in the 2 crowded halls until, 6 in the morning. Turns out the point where my head hit the asphalt, my skin sort of just disintegrated. They couldn't sew it shut with stitches because there wasn't anything to stitch together. Other than that, I was fine. Other than that and the concussion that lasted for 6 months. Other than that, the months-long concussion and my medical bills. Mo and Val were not hurt in a fight. Better Luck Tomorrow is owned and run by assholes, who at this time, at least, didn't back up their bartending staff, so the bartenders didn't feel like they could throw people out who got rowdy or handsy or what the fucksy. Better Luck Tomorrow didn't have anyone at the door to screen customers. They didn't want themselves to be on the hook for, people being safe. My medical bills were paid by the state of Texas. In case you ever need it, and I hope you don't, look up the Crime Victims Compensation Fund. Everything was covered. So all I had to deal with was the injury and the recovery. The easy stuff. My head had a bald spot where the new skin had grown in. My concussion lasted for half a year. I still wonder if I'm different now from who I was. What damage was invisible? What damage is still lurking underneath, waiting to be found? The guy who bashed my head in was never caught, never charged. The cops asked me to come in for an interview, and the detective showed me some pictures. I identified who I thought the guy was. Through context, we got a likely name of the guy, some business or lawyer type, of course. Nothing ever happened. By then it was COVID. By then it was the summer of Black Lives Matter protests. ACAB. And maybe this guy didn't need to be shoved into jail when everyone else was getting sick. I'd survived, after all. I'd almost died in a fight. But I survived. Maybe I'll never be the same again. At least I was alive.